Welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to cut an off-shoulder gown with elastic and bishop sleeve. So that's what I'm basically going to be doing. It's really simple, it's easy. I'm going to be making it beginners and friendly. So if you are a beginner, you should watch this video to the end, because at the end of this video you should be able to cut an off-shoulder gown with elastic and bishop sleeve. So that's what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to be making use of this and cutting fabric, so you could actually make use of any fabric of your choice. I'm going to be making use of 2 yards of this fabric. So I'm going to show you how to measure and cut out your fabric now. And this gown is divided into 2 parts, so I could decide to do it as a straight gown, but I'm just going to give it a top bodice and then a skirt. For a beginner, this will be much more easier for you to understand. So that's what we're going to be doing. So the full length of the gown is actually 37 inches. So the top part, I'm going to be making the top bodice 15 inches, and then the skirt is going to be 22 inches. So I'll fold out the fabric now. Let's get started. If you are new to my channel, if you have not seen Stylish Naija YouTube channel before and you have not subscribed, please, I would appreciate if you will hit on the subscribe button and then hit on the bell on the side to get all of my updates whenever I upload a new video. So let's just get started. So you could also follow me on my new my Pinterest account. I just opened it. Follow me, and then if you want to register for my online training, which I usually do every month, so just see the number on the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp. So thank you. Let's get started. Okay, I've folded my fabric and I have 2 pieces here. I'm going to explain to you how to fold your fabric. I folded my fabric at 13 inches. This is 13 inches. The reason for folding at 13 inches is the bust and measurement that I'm using is actually 34 inches. So when you divide 34 into 4, you have 8.5 inches. This is 8.5. So I'm going to add about between 4 and 5 inches allowance. So I have about, and this is half, 1 2 3, about 4.5 inches allowance, which is okay. That's what I'm going to add to this. So that is why I folded at 13 inches. And then I have some basic lines here. And the first line that I have, this is, you remember, because it's an off shoulder, so this is going to be our start line, which is 5 inches. And then I have my bust line, which is 10. I have my under bust line, and then I have my half cut, which is 15. And then I'm going to add 2 inches allowance. So as I walk along, you are going to see. So I'm going to connect my lines, and then we're going to we'll continue. So I folded my fabric at 13 inches. The reason for folding my fabric at 13 inches is because the bust measurement that I'm using for this dress is 34 inches. So when you divide 34 into 4, you have 8 inches. So this is 8 inches, and then I'm going to add about 5 inches or 4 inches allowance to reach. This is 1 2 3 4 5 to reach, just to accommodate your allowance and every other cut and stitch that you're going to be making on this dress. So that is the reason. So it's always good to fold extra allowance. Also, I have some basic lines here. I'm not going to cut this as a bust here. We're not cutting as a bust here. We're cutting normal and straight. We're going to be including the waist that. So this is my startup line. This is my bust line, my under bust, and then my waistline. So this part is just like the remaining fabric. So because this is an off shoulder, you are going to be dropping with 5 inches from the picture that you saw there. That is like a very modest off shoulder. So I'm going to drop with 5 inches. The one that is not very modest, you can use 8 inches or 9 inches. So some of them, at the end of the day, you might find the boobs trying to fall out. So but for modest one, just make use of 5 inches. So this is 5 inches that I'm going to use to drop the shoulder, and then I have all of my lines. This is my bust line, my under bust, and then my waistline. So the first thing we're going to do now, we're going to start with the shoulder, and the shoulder for this dress is 14 inches. So shoulder measurement you divide into 2 is 14 inches, and then when you divide 14 into 2, you have 7. This is 7 inches. I'm just going to mark my 7 inches, and then I'll add 1 inch allowance. I really do not need to add the 1 inch, but I'm just going to add it anyway because I'm still going to reduce the neck, the shoulder line to create out the waist, to create out the neckline. So I'm just putting this just to make it easy for beginners. So the next thing we're going to do now, you remember our 5 inches, you're going to put your tape like this, and then I'm going to measure out 8 inches. I'm going to use for my armhole line. So I've marked it out like this. So I'll take out the body measurement first before I'll come back to work on the off shoulder part. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to measure the bust measurement. Like I said the bust is 34. When you divide 34 into 4, you have 8. This is 8 inches. Sorry, you have 8.5. This is, and then I'm going to add 2 inches allowance to it. So from this point, I'm just going to mark like this. And then the next thing we're going to measure now is the under bust measurement, which is 30. When you divide 30 into 4, you have 7.5. This is 7.5. And then you add your allowance also. So you could do any allowance of your choice. So mine, I'm using 2 inches. So the next measurement is my waist measurement. This is my waistline. The waist measurement is actually 32. So when you divide 32 into 4, you are going to have 8. And then I'll add my allowance. So I'm just going to bring this here like this. And then I'll add extra inches. I'll add extra 2 inches. Okay, this is the back piece. I forgot to say that. So this is the back piece, which is 1.5 inches bigger than the front piece. So before we cut out, we're going to include the off shoulder neckline now. So for the neckline, you are going to determine how wide you actually want it to be. So this was the original shoulder measurement. So let me just. So for the this is the original shoulder line. So I'm going to reduce it by 2 inches. I'm going to reduce. This is 2 inches now. And then from this 2 inches, this is where our neckline is going to be. So from this 2 inches point now, you are going to determine how deep you want it to be. So remember, we dropped by 5 inches. So you are going to put that into consideration. So you are going to determine this part. So I think I'm going to add 1.5 inches because the neckline is not meant to be too deep from the picture. So this is 1.5 inches added. So I'm going to curve it out nicely. So from this point now, I'm going to slant it into my armhole point like this. So I'm just going to use my free hand to do that right now. I'm just going to slant it like this. So for this, so I just slanted it from the neckline, just slant it in. I'm going to cut the back and the front. So you are going to I'm going to cut the back and the front the same. So that is why I brought up the back piece. And then for my dart lines, I'm going to add my regular dart, which I'm going to use 4.5 inches. I'm just going to do a regular dart. So I'll cut this out right now and then move ahead to the skirt. I'm just going to blend this part up nicely. So you see what we have now. So if you want the back neckline, if you want it to be deeper, you can decide to reduce it a little bit. So I think I'm just going to reduce it with just a little cut out like this. So that's that for the back neckline. So we have our front piece. So I'm going to put the notch for the dart lines right now. So So we're done with this part. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut out our skirt. So I'll just put it on the side. So you see the neck line is looking like what is on that picture. So I'll drop it and then I'll bring the skirt piece now. So I already have some basic lines here. So these are the basic lines that I have here. This is my hip line, and then this is my hem line, and then this line that is here, that's from my shoulder. You remember this is 15 inches from my shoulder to my half length. That's my waistline, which is that's my actual waistline, which is 21 inches. So this is the line. So now I'm going to impute my measurement. So this is where I'm going to take as my waistline. So remember the measurement that I have here. So this is just like basically a very simple way of doing this. I'm just going to take this measurement that I have here. I'll transfer it to this part like this, because the allowance is already included. I'm just going to transfer it like this to this point like this. So this is just like a very simple way of making a gown that is 2 cut. I'm just giving it just a slight curve, and then now this is my hip line. So I'm going to measure out my hip measurement. So the hip measurement that I have here is 36. So when you divide into 4, you have 9 inches. This is 9 inches, and then I'm going to add a little bit of allowance. So from here I'm just going to mark this like this, and then I'll come to the down part. So what I have here, I'm going to transfer to the down. I'll reduce it by 2 inches. I'm just going to reduce it by 2 inches just to create that pencilness. So from this point I'm just going to bring it like so. You notice I'm using my free hand. So at times I like teaching with both pattern and free hand, so everybody can be carried along. So let's just do the free hand today. So I've already marked it out, so I'm just going to cut it out now. So that is how simple this is. You notice I did not add any dart to it because I use this waistline. So I'm going to include my dart to my skirt. So you see the way it is. So I'm just going to hold on this point and then put my mark like this that I'm going to use for the skirt dart. So for the skirt, I'm going to cut out another piece. This is the front piece. I'm going to cut out another piece. That is going to be for the back. I'll add the zipper allowance of the back, the zipper allowance to it. So the next thing we're going to do now, let's cut out our sleeve. So for the sleeve, it is a very simple very simple sleeve. I'll fold my fabric now and cut it out. Okay, for my bishop sleeve, I'm going to start it now. So I have about 20 inches of the sleeve length is 20 inches, and the width that I'm using is about 12.5 inches on fold. So here's what I'm going to do to create out this off shoulder sleeve. I'm going to measure on this point my armhole. What I have here, I actually have 6 inches here. So after stitching, normally I would use 5 inches as my armhole. So I have about 6 inches because of the allowance. So that is why it is 6 inches. I'm just going to keep it on that point. I'm going to bring that into this part. So what I'm going to do, normally my round sleeve measurement, I'm supposed to use 5 inches because it is 10. That's the round sleeve is actually 10. But because I'm going to be using an elastic, you're going to use an elastic to gather up the sleeve together. So you are going to add as much as you want to add to it. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to measure. I'm going to use about 12 inches on fold. So this is 12 inches. Normally I would use 5 inches. So when it gathers, so it becomes full, and then it will give beauty to the sleeve. So I'll use 12 inches from this point. So remember the 5 inches that I measured from the armpit area. I'm going to bring that into this point like this. So I'm going to mark, this is the 5 inches. I'm just going to, so this is, you could decide to do this. So this actually makes it really easy since we are doing the freehand method today. So let's just complete it very well. So we're just going to mark like this. So I'm trying to create the same slant here. So I've created it here like this. So the next thing I'm going to create now for my bicep area, this part is my bicep, that's the top part. I'm going to reduce the bicep area a little bit. So for the bicep area, I'm going to reduce it to about 10 inches. So it's going to come like this. So for the down part, I'm going to use the entire 12 inches because you see the down part, you are still going to use an elastic to hold it together. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to reduce this part a bit, and then this part I'm just going to like give it like a round circle down like this. So here's what we're going to have now. You're just going to slant this part a little bit in, and then you're going to give a round circle like this to create that roundness on that sleeve. Normally, if we're using pattern, we're going to do this sleeve like we're going to use and slash and spread to do this. But since we're using freehand, this is how you do it in a freehand style. So let's cut out right now. So at the end of the day, so you see what we have. So when we hold, so you could see the shape. It is looking like what we have on the picture. So once you use your elastic to hold this part, so this part is just going to be puff, and then this center part is going to be slim, and here you are going to use your elastic on this part. You are going to ruffle it up with your elastic to your round armhole measurement, and then you are going to connect this part. So that is why you need to measure to make sure that the part tallies. So you stitch this part to this point, and then you're going to stitch this like this, and then ruffle this part up also with your elastic. Okay guys, so I think we're done. I have now come to the end of this video illustration, this off-shoulder gown with elastic and bishop sleeve. So if you find this video helpful, I would appreciate if you will hit on the like button, subscribe if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel already. So thank you so much. If you have any question, please do not hesitate, just drop your questions on the comment section. So once I come up, I would attend to your questions. So thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you and have a nice day.